One of the greatest strengths of Datera's software-defined storage is the ability to set simple yet very powerful programmatic policies for new volumes that are completely abstracted from the underlying hardware. You may wish for a certain workload, application, container, or VM to have tier 0 or tier 1 performance and 9 nines data durability. Others are much less mission critical. They require less performance or fewer replicas. It's very simple to build such policies with Datera using Optane nodes, NVMe, flash, or even spinning disk. You can set high or low replica counts, hourly or weekly snapshots, every 15 minutes if you need to. And you can do this across many shared nothing nodes and even stretch clusters across metro geographies. Over the next 5 minutes, let's walk through how simple, intuitive, powerful this model can be and why the older legacy array is losing ground in modern data centers. We are using an active cluster. It has 7 mixed media nodes, a number of pre-existing media and data placement policies. They're very simple to create, and they allow you to quickly add new volumes with predefined characteristics based upon your application. Let's take a look at an existing media policy for a mission-critical Cassandra workload, and then we'll go on and create a few new media policies. This current Cassandra policy, we see that it's very high priority, very high performance with a rapid number of snapshots. Let's go ahead and create a new one. Later, we'll manually provision storage using these policies. They could just as easily be called up via API and delivered with self-service velocity. Machine learning will constantly inventory the cluster, all the nodes in it, and it ensures that each volume maintains these priorities that we're setting, along with performance, durability, data efficiency levels that you define here. Let's go ahead now and specify our placement policy for the replicas for Cassandra. You can typically use hybrid, 1 replica flash, all replica flash. We've added Cassandra High and Cassandra 2. We've added Optane. You can pick a primary and a secondary based upon the resources of the cluster at any moment in time. You can also set the number of replicas from 1 to 5 very quickly and very simply here. We see the growing number of highly composable various placement policies. In a minute, we will provision storage manually, and I'll show you how simple it is to define an application volume completely with these policies, all while Datera works autonomically under the covers to leverage heterogeneous cluster resources most efficiently. Very quickly, before we provision that storage for Cassandra, let's go ahead and set another media policy. And this one we're going to use to define persistent memory, in this case Optane, with very high priority. Later, when we provision, we will put a very high snapshot count on it. Last thing I'd like to do before we provision is set one final placement policy. This one will be designed to affect the lowest latency possible. So let me go ahead and set these to Cassandra High, which we've previously defined, and click Submit, and you see that now we have a low latency placement policy. We have 6 media policies. We've also created a number of new placement policies, and with that, we're ready to go in and provision an application instance for a very highly performant, low latency, and highly protected via snapshot Cassandra application instance. We can also export these out pretty easily through the Datera system programmatically. Let's call it Cassandra High Snapshot. I would normally select a tenant, but we're just going to use root. For a snapshot schedule, every 15 minutes, I want to keep 10 of those. And you see here, it's going to start immediately after the instance has been created. I want the repair priority to be extremely high. iSCSI's fine here. We could have selected object. I'm also going to put QoS around this app instance. I want very high IOPS, in this case, a max of 10,000. 4,000 will be read, 6,000 for write. I now go in and I select storage placement of low latency that we previously created. I want these to be fairly small, so I'm going to use 25 gigabytes, and the replicas are only 2. Click provision. We have our snapshot schedule very easily visible. We show the priority preference. Drilling down a little bit further, you can see the QoS. All of this has been done within seconds. We could easily have programmatically used these dynamic policies to export hundreds of iSCSI volumes, PVs or persistent volumes for Kubernetes or for VMs. This is the power of media policies and highly composable Datera software-defined storage.
Learn more about how Datera brings the software-defined revolution to enterprise storage at datera.io and contact Datera for a free consultation.